All right, so today we're talking ovulation. This whole month we're talking about living in flow. So this whole month is about how we can move past the structures that we've been adhering to in the past that were admittedly created by and for men, and actually start living with our own structures, our flow. This is a perfect opportunity to live more in alignment with your own body, your own cycles, your own rhythms. Why the heck not? What have you got to lose is a great way to get started. So we're talking right now about what's happening in each phase of our cycle. We're talking about how that feels, what to look for, how to know what's happening. And then in the rest of this month, we're going to talk about ways to harness all of this for our own potential, how each phase has its superpower, how we can use that for business, for working with clients, for coaching, even just running your family and your household. I've had women who are moms of five be clients of mine because they just wanted to learn how to run their business, which means their family, their kids, and be in flow so that it was easier and more advantageous for them and kept them in hormonally balanced bliss. So no matter where you are, what you're doing, this is going to be a great, helpful information for you. So let's talk about the ovulation phase today. So we've done menstrual and we've done follicular. If you haven't seen those yet, that's all right. Feel free to go back and watch them. This is our ovulation phase, which is the opposite of our menstrual phase. So if menstrual, you may remember, was our winter phase, our water phase, ovulation is going to be our opposite. It's our summer, it's our fire phase. So let's just dive into what's actually happening during ovulation. And again, I'm going to be pulling a lot of this stuff out of The Revolution Will Be Bloody. Do feel free to grab a free sample of my book. I'll put the link below when we're done. So ovulation phase is your sun and fun phase, right? It's our summer phase. So it's definitely the more high energy phase. I do want to give this phase a little asterisk. Ovulation looks different as far as energy is concerned for women. I've definitely had clients who feel a bit of a crash right before or right after ovulation, and had clients who had pain during ovulation. So I just wanted to assure you that if you have any of these anomalies, it can be just maybe a little uniqueness to you, or it could signal that something's not going right. Feel free to touch base and ask. But we do all have a little bit of uniqueness, right, to us. So in some cases, you may have a bit of a difference in how it looks or feels, and that's okay. All right. So ovulation is a short but sweet phase. It generally lasts 3 to 4 days, and that's because the egg that you release during ovulation lasts 12 to 24 hours. So it's the phase when that magic egg, remember in follicular, you had 15 to 20 follicles growing an egg, and one was going to be the winner. Well, in your ovulation phase, that one winner is now going to be released from the follicle. It's going to travel down the fallopian tube between 12 and 24 hours. It'll be viable. And then after that, if it's not fertilized, it's no longer a viable egg. So this is why our fertility window is about 6 days. Sperm can live on average 5 days in the vaginal canal before expiring. And we have about a 24-hour window for our egg to be viable, hence 6 days for fertilization. Now, if you're using your charting to prevent pregnancy, you're going to want to give it a little, more like a 7-8 day window. But you can use this to help prevent pregnancy without having to use hormones like birth control pill, which are not actually hormones. They're a little bit different. They're not just like hormonal replacements. I don't want you to think that you're ovulating if you're on a hormonal birth control. You might be ovulating if you're on something like the Mirena, but if you're on the birth control pill, the odds that you're ovulating are very slim, because one of the things it does is shrink your ovaries. Nothing's happening. So don't get me started on the birth control pill rant, because that's going to be longer than 10 minutes. So then there are 3 ways to know if you're ovulating. So if you are not using this for birth control, 2 out of the 3 is usually fine, I tell my clients. 1 is cervical fluid. When you're ovulating, you're going to have a lot more of it. We like to call this our hashtag sploosh moment. You're going to have a lot more cervical fluid. It's probably going to look like raw egg whites. It's going to stretch. So when you're feeling it, it should stretch between your fingers a bit. Your second one is your basal body temperature. So this is when you get up first thing in the morning before you so much as sit up, you take your basal body temperature. It's best to do it every day. My cheating hack is to get a thermometer that remembers your temperature so that on the weekends or days that you don't have to get up, you can take your temperature, roll over, and go right back to sleep without having to think about it. Although I suppose that's a little bit different these days. And then your cervix changes position. And I talk a lot more about that in my book in chapter 5. So if you really want to dive into it, take a look at that or grab the fertility awareness book. I have an affiliate link in my Facebook group for it if you'd like to take a look. Taking Charge of Your Fertility, that's the name of it. So if you'd like to really dive into how to use charting as birth control, then you're going to want to read that book because that is the Bible. So ovulation is essential for our health. Again, I go into real detail as to why it's so essential in the book. But for now, I'm just going to say, if you don't ovulate, your body does not make estradiol, which is a type of estrogen, or progesterone. And progesterone is extensively important for your health, from your mental health, because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel better, just so mentally, emotionally, it's really important for you. It's also how your body moves the minerals in your body around properly. So if you're not getting any progesterone, you're going to tend towards more osteoporosis, heart issues, these things that use calcium and minerals in our body. We need progesterone. And before somebody says to me, yeah, but women used to be pregnant all the time. When you're pregnant, your progesterone is high. So you're getting your progesterone whether you're pregnant or whether you're ovulating. So it doesn't matter if you have no kids or if you spent your whole life having kids, you got the progesterone that you need to have a really healthy body. Progesterone affects how our skin looks, how our hair looks, how our eyes are glowing, the whites of our eyes. Like everything is connected to progesterone. Well, not everything, but a lot is connected to progesterone. So having a healthy ovulatory cycle is really important to your health. So this is one of the reasons why when people say you don't need a period, what they're saying is you don't need ovulation. You do need ovulation. And if you're having a period but you're not ovulating, then that's not a period. It's a breakthrough bleed, and it's not the same thing. So the bleed you may have with hormonal birth control is not ovulation based. Therefore, it's not actually a period. Therefore, you're not actually getting the progesterone and estrogen that you need to have long-term health and happiness. Okay. So the ovulation phase is absolutely one of luscious goodness. That's because of all of these great hormones that are happening. It's absolutely one of those times that you're feeling your best. Remember, your testosterone starts to rise during ovulation phase as well. We talked a little bit about how it rises towards the end of follicular. So it's going to peak around ovulation along with your estrogen, and then after ovulation, your progesterone is going to rise. It's actually created by the empty sac that's left behind after your egg breaks free. All right, so this is also summer and fire, which we talked about already. And I just wanted to reiterate that it is that peak time. And if the question that I get asked the most about ovulation is, why can't we just feel like this all the time? And I get that. I also felt that same way until I learned to love and respect the late summer, fall, and winter phases as well as the summer phase. And once I took my value off the market as being what the patriarchy values, extroversion, getting stuff done, being peak performance all of the time, being perfect, looking your best, all of those things, and started tying my own value to actually myself, that was a completely different conversation. So I hope that you can really understand that if you have summer all of the time, you have the Sahara. If you have rain and winter, however extreme that is, but if you have that downtime and that moisturizing, you have a luscious garden. And you can go desert, sure, that's called burnout. And that's what it feels like if you're trying to pretend like you're in ovulation all of the time. But when you can embrace the whole cycle, you can have a really lush, abundant garden. All right, I'm getting out of here because we've gone too long. I love you guys. Mwah. I'll see you back here tomorrow. We'll talk about the luteal 1 phase, and we'll do some more giveaways as well. Bye, guys.